this evening. First up, hundreds of Guyanese lost their savings to a Ponzi scheme back in 2020. 6 years later, the couple behind it are convicted, fined, and heading to prison. SOCU says the message is simple: financial fraud has consequences. Then, licensed hire car operators under quarantine said unlicensed private taxis are stealing their passengers and breaking rules nobody seems to be enforcing, and they want the police to do something about it before more people climb into uninsured vehicles. Plus, Mouldy sandwiches or misinformation. The Ministry of Education fires back at reports of spoiled food being served to children at Theresa Primary in Region 6, saying the meals were inspected, approved, and fresh at delivery. Meanwhile, 69 Indigenous leaders from 4 regions walk away with certificates on sharper skills in governance, accountability, and community management. And the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs says this is just the first stop on a nationwide trading rollout. And central banks are hoarding gold. China is pushing the yuan, and BRICS nations are quietly distancing themselves from the US dollar. The greenback still dominates, but the search for an alternative has never been more serious. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for June 12, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Yuri Garcia Dominguez and Atika Ishmael, a married couple known for running one of Ghana's most notorious Ponzi schemes, have been convicted and jailed by the Special Organized Crime Unit. On Thursday, June 11th, Magistrate Sinul Scares at the Vigilance Magistrates Court sentenced both defendants. For operating a Ponzi scheme, Dominguez was fined $1 million and given 1 year in prison, while Ishmael received the same fine and sentence. Both were also convicted of carrying on a business without registering with the Ghana Securities Council, in breach of the Securities Industry Act. Dominguez was fined $100,000 and sentenced to 18 months, while Ishmael received the same fine with a default sentence of 6 months. The charges stem from the couple's operation of an illegal Ponzi scheme at college in East Coast Demerara between May and October 2020, during which hundreds of Guyanese were defrauded of hundreds of millions of dollars. SOCU launched its investigations after numerous citizens came forward reporting they had invested large sums and lost all their money. The probe, which took several months, led to the charges being laid and the eventual convictions. The defendants were represented by attorney-at-law Eden Corbin, while SOCU's case was handled by attorney-at-law Darren Chan, DSP Neville Jeffers, and Sergeant Aaron Daniels. SOCU described the convictions as a significant milestone in enforcing Ghana's financial crime laws, particularly regarding investment schemes and unregistered financial activity. Deputy Commissioner Faisal Karambash, head of SOCU, said the unit remains committed to pursuing financial crimes, securities offenses, money laundering, and proceeds of crime cases, in line with Ghana's broader anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing framework. On a different note, hire car operators along the Quarantine Coast in Region 6 say illegal private vehicle taxis are seriously cutting into their earnings, and they're urging police to step up enforcement. President of the Upper Quarantine Hire Car Association, Rajesh Kumar, says complaints have been raised for years without results, calling unlicensed private hire car activities widespread and harmful, since passengers using these vehicles also put themselves at risk by traveling with unlicensed operators. Regional Traffic Officer Assistant Superintendent Charles Hook has warned that private hire services operate illegally and do not provide insurance coverage for passengers. He urged members of the public to report offenders by providing vehicle registration numbers to help authorities investigate and prosecute those involved. The licensed operator says they must follow strict rules covering attire, music, tinted windows, and fees, while private vehicle owners openly pick up fares without facing the same restrictions. They are calling on the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ghana Police Force to enforce transport laws equally. Regional Division 6 Commander Assistant Commissioner Shiv Prasad Bacchus says no formal complaints have been filed. However, traffic enforcement exercises do result in charges when private vehicles are caught during stop and search operations. He noted that proving an offense is difficult because passengers often claim they are getting a lift rather than paying for transport. Moving on, the Ministry of Education has dismissed claims that spoiled or moldy cheese sandwiches were served to pupils at St. Theresa Primary School in Region 6 through the National School Feeding Program, describing the reports as misinformation. In a statement issued on Thursday, the ministry clarified that the cheese sandwiches in question were delivered to the school on June 9, 2026, and were inspected and approved by the head teacher at the time of delivery. Official says the meals were verified as fresh and meeting the required quality standards. The ministry explained that all meals distributed under the program are subject to strict monitoring procedures, including inspections by teachers who are required to sign off on the quality of the food. Additionally, caterers must provide photographic and video evidence of meal preparation, a requirement introduced by the Education Minister Theresa Primary in September of 2025. According to the ministry, every complaint regarding the school feeding program is investigated and caterers found violating health and safety standards are immediately removed from the program. Officials also noted that previous investigations into similar reports have found that some meals were left in students' bags for several days before being consumed, resulting in spoilage. While acknowledging concerns about the meals, the ministry said it remains committed to thoroughly investigating all reports to ensure students' safety and well-being. Parents, teachers, and members of the public are being encouraged to report any concerns through the program's official monitoring channels. The ministry maintained that the National School Feeding Program continues to play a vital role in supporting students across the country and pledged to uphold the highest food safety standards. Stick around when we return. 69 Indigenous leaders graduate from Governance Training Program, and Guyana's Child Health Screening Program setting global benchmark.
Hey there, it's that time of year again, and Sharon Cadogan Taylor brings you the 7th edition of Dedication to Daddy under the theme Like Father, Like Son. National Cultural Center, Sunday, June 21 at 8 p.m. VIP tickets, including cocktails in the Jazzy Lounge Plus, just $6,000. Regular tickets, $3,000. Bring Dad to enjoy an evening of sweet songs, dance, and drama, and fabulous door prizes. Dedication to Daddy 7, Sunday, June 21, 8 p.m., National Cultural Center. See you there.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. 69 Indigenous leaders from regions 3, 4, 5, and 6 received certificates on Thursday after completing a 2-day governance and leadership training program at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Organized by the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, the program targeted officials, councillors, and community development council chairpersons from coastal communities. Minister of Amerindian Affairs Sarah Brown said the training will strengthen governance system in indigenous villages and better equip leaders to manage community resources. She said the program will be replicated in other regions, starting on the coast before moving to the hinterlands. Over the 2 days, participants covered governance, leadership, and Amerindian Act, transparency, and accountability. Brown noted that the training was especially important given that villagers now have access to greater funding through programs such as the LCDS, presidential grants, capital projects, and sports funding, making responsible and transparent management essential. To show off Orialis Siparuta village, Lawrence Vanderberg attended for the third time. He said he was pleased to bring 2 new councillors who benefited from learning about accountability and transparency. Other attendees described the experience as valuable for their entire team, saying they gained important skills in communication, leadership, and community management, which they would share with residents and young people back home.
The training has been very beneficial, very timely, and practical. We are learning skills to take back to our community to put in good use.
I think the program is important for the Village Council because it would help us to have a better understanding about management and leadership skill, as well as reaching the people more.
I think this day will go far way in enhancing them in the future when it comes to like accountability or running villages. It will go a long way. And we really appreciate it because of this now a lot of us will be more, accustomed to running our villages.
The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs plans to roll out similar training programs across other regions as part of its broader effort to strengthen leadership and governance in indigenous communities nationwide. In other news, Ghana's National Child Health Screening Program is gaining international attention after health experts says it is moving faster and reaching more children than similar programs in other countries. The recognition came from Dr. Rachel Freeman, Executive Director of the Ghana Mount Sinai Health Initiative, following a steering committee meeting at State House in Georgetown with President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali and senior health officials. Dr. Freeman said more than 86,000 children and teenagers across Guyana have already received full health screenings. These checkups include tests for eyesight, hearing, dental health, development, and general physical well-being. She said the program is helping doctors and health officials spot problems early so children can get treatment and support sooner. According to Dr. Freeman, she has not seen another country moving this quickly with a nationwide early childhood health initiative. The program is part of the Guyana Mount Sinai Partnership, which is helping the country improve healthcare services through digital systems, specialized care, and stronger medical infrastructure. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, said the school health program has already screened thousands of students in nursery, primary, and secondary schools, allowing health workers to identify children who need follow-up care. Officials said the next phase of the program will focus more on adolescents' health, mental health services, substance abuse support, and better care for children with developmental conditions such as autism. The government says the initiative is an important step towards building a modern, world-class healthcare system for Ghana's future generation. Don't go away after the break. Trinidad Prime Minister alleges senior bank officials facilitated cartels transactions, and Trump-Netanyahu rift reshapes U.S.-Israel relations.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lenders Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hey there! It's that time of year again, and Sharon Cadogan Taylor brings you the 7th edition of Dedication to Daddy under the theme Like Father, Like Son. National Cultural Center, Sunday, June 21 at 8 p.m. VIP tickets, including cocktails in the Jazzy Lounge Plus, just $6,000. Regular tickets, $3,000. Bring Dad to enjoy an evening of sweet songs, dance and drama, and fabulous door prizes. Dedication to Daddy 7, Sunday, June 21, 8 p.m., National Cultural Center. See you there.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins tonight. Trinidad's Prime Minister accused central bankers of moving cartel money out of the country. Haiti savors a World Cup return after 49 years. Trump and Netanyahu clashes over endgames in Iran, and central banks are snapping up gold at a record pace. We will begin in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has alleged that current and former senior banking officials facilitated foreign currency transactions linked to international drug cartels. She said the government is receiving foreign assistance to track billions of US dollars that have left the country over the past 20 years. Persad-Bissessar stressed that no individual, regardless of wealth or status, is above the law. Haiti's World Cup qualification brings hope amid hardship. A small Colombian company that has long supported the team rushed to prepare kits for this historic return after 49 years. Al Jazeera's Alexandro Vampieti reports.
For many Haitians, qualifying for the World Cup felt like a miracle. A rare source of pride in a country overwhelmed by gang violence and political instability. And the surprise qualification also brought joy to a small sportswear company in Colombia, which has been dressing Haiti's national team for more than a decade.
We didn't expect it. At 10 at night, we were glued to the TV. When we found out they had qualified, we jumped out of bed. The joy was huge.
Pedro Carrero founded Saeta in 1982, a family-run brand that began with 2 sewing machines in the dining room of his home, eventually producing kits for some of Colombia's best professional clubs.
For us, it truly was a miracle. And from that moment on, I started thinking, how do I make this jersey? What am I going to show at this World Cup? It's like David versus Goliath. We're going to compete against many Goliaths, but that doesn't mean we can't do it.
Saeta is rushing to finish the work on the uniforms in time for the World Cup, and while most teams will wear the logos of global sport giants, Haiti's journey to the 2026 tournament will carry a different label.
One that was born far from football, when Carrero donated thousands of jerseys to Haiti after the devastating 2010 earthquake that killed more than 100,000 people.
I called the Red Cross and gave them the jerseys I had, and that was it. That was something separate. There was no hidden interest at all, just a desire to help.
2 years later, Saeta became Haiti's official kit supplier. For years, it was more a labor of loyalty than a lucrative business. Now, as Haiti returns to the World Cup after 52 years, this unlikely partnership has already become a victory of its own. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu launched attacks on Iran side by side. Now, they're divided about their endgames and how to achieve them. Al Jazeera's Kimberly Halkett reports.
We had a great relationship. We had great victories together.
The bond between U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been one of the closest political alliances in modern U.S.-Israeli history.
You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
But the U.S.-Israel war against Iran is exposing the limits of their strategic partnership. Trump insisted the pair, regarding Iran, was in lockstep.
He's fine, he'll do whatever I want him to do.
Then last month, it became increasingly clear the pair had different ideas about the war's endgame, exposing a rift between the two leaders. That's when a week ago, Trump reportedly confronted Netanyahu in a phone call, shouting, "What the expletive are you doing?" after Israeli strikes threatened stalled negotiations and a stumbling ceasefire with Iran. Netanyahu downplayed the divide.
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands, well, a lot of them. And if you think this is a crisis, you should be in some other conversations.
Then this week, Trump told the Financial Times Netanyahu must accept any Iran agreement Washington negotiates. He won't have any choice, Trump reportedly said. "I call the shots. I call all the shots." He doesn't call the shots. And as Israel struck Beirut on Sunday, Iran responded against Israel, raising fears of a broader regional war. When Trump urged Netanyahu not to retaliate, Netanyahu informed the White House Israel would proceed anyway, with limited strikes. That's when Trump reportedly issued this stark warning: "You better be careful, or you will be on your own very soon." The rift reflects fundamentally different goals. Trump seeks a diplomatic off-ramp, concerned about oil markets, the U.S. economy, and his political legacy. But Netanyahu is under domestic pressure to crush Hezbollah. Amid criticism within his coalition, he's compromising Israel's sovereignty under Trump's control. President Trump's first term reshaped the U.S.-Israeli relationship in Benjamin Netanyahu's favor. But now, as Washington pursues diplomacy with Iran, Netanyahu is discovering Washington's support comes with conditions. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, the White House.
For decades, United States assets were the world's ultimate safe haven. Now, central banks are buying gold at a record pace. Al Jazeera's Fitem Monaghan reports.
Investors are increasingly going for gold. The precious metal has long been viewed as a hedge against inflation and a safe haven during times of economic turmoil. The price of gold has gone up around 80% over the past 2 years, and it's also becoming a preferred choice for central bank holdings. Bullion now accounts for around 27% of global reserve assets. That's up from 20% a year earlier. And this shift is coming at the expense of US Treasury bonds. Central banks have cut their store of these dollar-denominated securities from 25% to 22% in the same period. For a long time, the dollar has been the de facto global currency. Bonds backed by the US government and the strength and stability of the US economy have been viewed as highly secure and a safe bet in uncertain times. But some see reasons to be concerned. The US national debt continues to grow and now stands at nearly $40 trillion. As deficits keep mounting year after year, more and more Treasury bonds are being issued to cover the cost. US President Donald Trump's decision to impose sweeping tariffs last year also shook perceptions over the consistency of US trade policy and its reliability as a partner. Many countries are also making a strategic choice to reduce their reliance on the US dollar. China has been looking to internationalize its own currency, the yuan, positioning it as a global alternative. Doing so would strengthen its position on the world stage.
The yuan has become the largest settlement currency for China's external receipts and payments. Globally, it ranks as the second largest trade finance currency and the third largest payment currency.
This was further boosted when Russia was shut out of Western-controlled financial institutions after its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Since then, it's been conducting much of its cross-border transactions using Chinese yuan. Some other countries are beginning to do the same, wary of the US capacity to weaponize its dominance over international finance.
When the previous US administration began using its currency, which remains the world's reserve currency, as a tool of political competition, everyone started to wonder, could they use this weapon against us too? And what would happen then? What would happen to our dollar-denominated reserves? What would happen to our money invested in US assets?
The US dollar is likely to remain the most influential global currency for the foreseeable future. But in an increasingly fragmented world, challengers are beginning to emerge. Fintan Monaghan, Al Jazeera, for Counting the Cost.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 30-minute forecast. And that's Safety Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and do have a wonderful weekend.